All right, I'm going to kick it off. Ready?
Yeah.
No pun intended, episode 5. We have Hans news, Hans drama. We talk about our own being triggered in chess, the worst we've ever done. And we're talking about how to beat higher rated opponents and lower rated opponents. What are strategies, kind of things you should be thinking about when you enter the game. But first, let's talk about a bunch of free courses that we offer. We have just put out a few new ones, actually. So I think our most popular free course is the ChessGoals Blueprint. This is kind of our study plan, 12 weeks for rapid improvement. And we sell a bunch of these, give away a bunch of these, and people seem to really like it. Um, that was our initial study plan that we had. Like we were selling these for a while. We talked about this in the first episode. We eventually converted it to a free product, and now we kind of change it up into an actual course you can study for free. Do you know how many people signed up for it last month? It was like a couple hundred, right?
I think we're averaging about 200 new signups every month for that free study plan course, the Chess Goals Blueprint.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And we have for all of our paid courses, you can try it out for free. And like if you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. But we also have quick starts. So we have a quick start for our CaroCon, which is probably our best seller. We have a quick start for Dynamic Slav, and these are all free. And we just released a quick start for the French and put a full video on YouTube. What was that, just today or yesterday?
Yeah, yep, that just went out and that's about 1 hour long. And the two course authors, Justin and Lucas, did an awesome job. Covers everything, 10 lines.
Yep, and you get if you do the quick start, you can download the PGN. So if you want to like drill that opening in Chessable or something, can plug it right in. We also have a couple full-on free courses as well. This don't have like a extended version, but a Vienna course. This is after E4, E5. We take you through an entire repertoire. So as you and Justin working on it, and there's like quite a bit. I think there's 2 hours of video. Um, you know,
Yeah, two
yeah,
hours of video and I think 6 lessons according to the page. I want to say it's 4 chapters that we organize it. So it's about 40 lines.
yeah, and then we also have Smithy's Minis. I like that one. It's just a bunch of miniatures. In our Discord, we love to show miniatures, just like our opponent hanging a queen, or we get some beautiful tactic in the first few moves. One of my favorite that I get a lot in the Carocon is when I don't know if you remember the line, but we allow them to capture our queen, but then we get the queen back with check, and then we get a piece at the end of it. So like the game's over before we started. If you're in the Discord, those have been posted a lot. And then if you want to buy a course, we have all kinds of paid courses as well. Carocon, Slav, Benko, Sicilian, E4, D4. What else we have? We have tons of them.
Nimzo, Queen's Indian.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
Catalan.
lot out there.
Yeah, and if you want to buy it all in one fell swoop, we have the lifetime bundle, and that'll get you everything for a premium price. Hans Niemann news. Hans has been uninvited from the St. Louis Chess Club. Let me read the official announcement in case anyone somehow has missed this. A statement from the St. Louis Chess Club. This is what they posted on Twitter. The St. Louis Chess Club is committed to providing a world-class environment for all levels of chess players to play and enjoy chess. At our competitive tournaments, participants are expected to adhere to an agreement that outlines expectations of the players, including a code of conduct. After consideration of recent events, the St. Louis Chess Club has made the difficult decision not to extend an invitation to GM Hans Niemann to participate in any invitational tournaments organized by the club in 2024, the whole year. This decision was based on GM Hans Niemann's demonstrated inappropriate behavior, including damaging private property, rude comments, and an uncooperative attitude, resulting in a failure to fulfill contractual obligations. This decision was not made lightly, and we hope that this serves as an opportunity for GM Hans Niemann to experience personal reflection and growth. We will reevaluate this determination for events in future years, assuming notable progress is achieved. End of statement. And there's a lot to unpack there. Initial thoughts?
I was shocked when I saw this because it did sort of seem to come out of nowhere.
Yep.
Um, and as far as I was aware, he wasn't banned previously, and there wasn't any recent event that caused them to put out this statement. So I think the shock value of this is what surprised a lot of people. Just where did this come from and why is Hans not allowed all of a sudden?
Yeah, I agree. It makes no like nothing has really changed in the last what 4 or 5 months with Hans. I mean, he's streaming a little more, I guess. He's in the public eye a little more. He just won Title Tuesday or something like that. But I can't think of what would prompt them to come out with a statement now. Maybe it's just something that they have been thinking about for a while. Um, but Hans did put out a video on Twitter, kind of giving his take on this. And I think he also just published it on his YouTube channel as well. And the biggest takeaway from that video is that he did admit, at least my biggest takeaway is he did admit to destroying a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a little crazy to me. I can't imagine any scenario where I destroy my hotel room. Like I break a TV, I punch a wall. I can't imagine myself getting that amped up over basically anything to destroy. We were just talking about before we came live. I could probably go to a poker room and like lose my house, and I wouldn't punch the hotel. Like
Yeah.
I can't think. I just can't even get in that headspace. Uh, so I wonder if there is some, I don't know, serious psychological stuff that he is really dealing with, at least was dealing with at the time. But yeah, that's kind of dark stuff.
I think Evan brings up a good point in the chat. He said Hans said he planned to release communication with the club, which probably prompted the club to issue their public statement. So kind of beating Hans to the punch and getting out there with a public statement before
Uh,
Hans did.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing he covered in his statement was he said that this ban has been farther than just this year. They haven't extended an invite to America's brightest young talent in like 6 months, like dating back basically to where it all began, where Magnus accused him in not these words, but basically accused him of cheating or having some kind of help. My take on this is a few things. It could be a few things. One, St. Louis Chess Club really wants Magnus there, and they will do kind of anything to make sure that Magnus shows up. Part of that is taking a hard stance on Hans can never be here again to get Magnus. I think that makes financial sense for them, and you want to. I don't know. You want to be buddy buddy with the best player in the world, who brings the best draw, and if that means making an enemy out of Hans Niemann, who cares?
And another way to look at it too is an event like the Sinkfield Cup. There's going to be multiple super GMs that may not want to play with Hans. Like we've already heard multiple super GMs suspicious of players online.
Yeah,
It's possible that 3 or 4 players in any given invitational who are over 2750 are saying, I don't want to play with Hans. And if that's the case, they have to make a tough decision.
yeah, I can see that too. Another take on this is they're being honest. This is the truth. He destroyed a hotel room. He can't be relied on. I kind of don't think that's the most likely explanation. I don't think they're it's the type of thing where like, yeah, we just can't trust him to fulfill contractual obligations. The reading of this letter is a bit vague, like rude comments, uncooperative attitude. These are just like wishy-washy terms that they just kind of like throw on the pile. I don't really give any heed to that at all. Um, another potential possibility here is that they know more than we have learned about the whole situation, the whole cheating situation. I wonder if Magnus gave them something, or if they have come to believe that Hans has used some sort of assistance over the board at some point, and they don't want to take that risk. I think that's a bit insane to think that he would do it again now in St. Louis. That's a possibility. I think that one's, I don't know, maybe more likely than they just can't rely on him. The thing is, he is a huge draw too. Like he, outside of maybe Magnus, Hikaru, Fabi, especially in the US, a lot of people are very interested in Hans.
Yeah. And I was kind of reading between the lines on the last paragraph. it does make it sound like a big part of it is maybe not only is he destroying a hotel room and being accused by Magnus, but maybe he's super unreliable, right? So if you have an invitational tournament, you want to make sure everybody shows up and they show up on time and they fulfill their contracts and all the different things. If someone's really unreliable, there's a lot of other chess players out there that are 2,700. There's a lot of other strong juniors. Sure, you might be higher rated or younger than some other players or a combination, but there's not a lack of players to invite, I guess, coming from the perspective of the club.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition to get into these tournaments. So if there's someone who's just like, yeah, a lot of like maybe Nepo, Naka, Matt, just like, yeah, we don't really want to play Hans. Please don't invite him, or I don't think I'm going to show up. What are they going to do? Of course, they're going to say no. And it's an invitational, so they get to choose who they invite.
I mean, think about
Um,
it this way. What if it was Faruja instead of Hans?
yeah,
And the club said Faruja's banned. I don't think that even hurts the club that much, right? Like, sure, we would like to see Faruja in your events, but there's so many other top players. It's like if Magnus doesn't play or Hikaru doesn't play, that's a big deal. Maybe Fabiano, but outside of those three, I think you could ban one individual player and no one's really going to care, and no one's going to
yeah,
miss them.
yeah. I agree because these big tournaments happen all the time, and there's a big name missing. Like the whole chess circuit went on for basically the last year without the world champion Ding Liren. He just played his first tournament like last week. It was Tata Steel in Norway, and he's maybe not like the biggest draw or the most popular or anything like that, but he's still like a big name that's been missing. And Faruja has taken a bunch of time off too. It's kind of like after the candidates last year, he didn't play a whole lot, and things just go on. And so I don't think the chess world is out of, being robbed of entertainment if they invite, I don't know, someone like, I don't know, Shaq or something instead of Hans Niemann. So that leads me to my next question. What is the most triggered you've been in chess? Have you ever destroyed a hotel room?
No. I think I've slammed my mouse before, like 10 years ago. But honestly, I think the most triggered I got, I didn't do anything outrageous, but I was playing in a unrated chess league. It's called the Twin Cities Chess League, and you have teams of four. So I was on board one out of four, and I was playing a FIDE master. And the time control was 90 minutes with a 5-second delay. I think I've told you this story before. And we're playing, and we get into a time scramble. And I had like a knight and 3 pawns, and he had a knight and 2 pawns, or something like that. And we trade down essentially to where he has a knight and 1 rook pawn, and I have a knight and 2 pawns, and I'm pushing for the win. And if he has to sack his knight for my 1 pawn, I'm able to win the game. So it's like either I win or I draw. There's no way I possibly lose this game, right? And we're both down to like a minute each. Or maybe he had 3 minutes, I had one. But I'm like, I got the 5-second delay. I play a lot of blitz, 3-0. Like I can play every move in 5 seconds, no problem. So we're playing, and then the next thing I know, I thought I had 1 minute. Next thing I know, he goes, flag. I was like, flag? What are you talking about? I'm instantly playing and I can never lose this game, but you have 1 pawn on the board. What do you mean flag?
Mm-hmm.
He goes, your flag fell. And I'm thinking, there's a 5 delay, like something's fishy here. And I said, well, let me check the clock. It's his clock. And it's the same clock that I own. So I go through all the settings in the clock. He had it set up so that we start with 90 minutes and 5 seconds and the delay of 0. And
So
it's a
he messed up
typical
the
mistake on
clock.
that type of clock. He didn't do it intentionally, but part of me was like, you're a FIDE master. You've been playing chess forever, and you're going to take this win because you have 1 pawn on the board when the clock was set wrong. But according to official USCF rules, the result just stands. Like it's on me to notice that there wasn't the 5 delay.
Wow,
But I
that
got
is
really heated because it was, a team match. And I'm thinking, like, if I were him, I would have at least said, let's agree to a draw, right? Like, it's my clock. I made a mistake. I don't want to take a win away, or, I don't
yeah.
know. It changed the outcome of the match, too. I was so upset, but I didn't do anything about it. He could tell I was pretty ticked off.
Well, yeah, you had a reason to be, especially if it's his clock. Did he set it before?
Yeah, he said it, and he just didn't know how to set it.
Oh man. Yeah, that's really rough. So what would you do in that situation if you're playing a game and you do recognize it? What's the protocol? Do you pause the clock and get
Yeah,
the
pause the clock, let the TD know, and the standard thing to do would be just add the delay right there, I believe. Um,
okay, so you don't like add add 5 seconds per move or anything like that? I think you probably could.
I don't think you would at that point, but I don't know. I actually don't know for sure what the ruling is, but I think you just add the delay. Because one of the big reasons that they have delay is because back when there were analog clocks, you would get a lot of time scrambles and issues that were difficult for the TD,
Yeah.
like insufficient losing chances and those sort of claims. The delay
Hmm.
just takes care of that because you say, okay, you got 5 seconds, you can finish the game, five
Yeah.
every move.
Yeah, I
So I
think
think
that's a
they would just
Bobby.
add it.
I think that's a Bobby Fischer thing. I think he introduced the delay time control. I don't think that was a thing before Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's because they call it like Fisher time control sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have a few comments. Interesting. The letters does seem a little like a smoke screen. I kind of agree. It's another good point. Maybe it's a message to other organized, basically just signaling that they have the receipts on Hans. I don't
Mm,
know. That could be total speculation, but I don't know. I could kind of see it. You don't get to FM by resigning with a pawn left. Yeah.
thanks,
Gotta
Preston.
just, you gotta
It's
get
unrated.
every, you gotta squeeze every point out. Was it an unrated game?
Yeah,
Oh, what? I didn't know that. And he
because
still took the W.
yeah, it was a team match, so they don't use ratings just because sometimes it, makes more sense to agree to a draw and things like that for your team. They just
Oh, I
decide to
see.
have it unrated.
Oh man, that's tough. Well, at least he didn't lose the rating points over it, but still, I'd be angry. Um, okay,
Yeah.
this is a deep pull now, but I remember we both took the chess personality quiz. This is like early on, and one of the questions was, "Have you ever broken your mouse?" And you said yes.
Did I?
Yeah.
Pro tip. If you're prone to throw your mouse, get a corded mouse
Ah.
because then it can't go too far. Also, the
All right.
batteries don't run out when you're in the middle of a time scramble about to win.
All right, we were talking about this before we came on, but okay, Matt, you're staying in a Holiday Inn Express. You have a stranger knocks on your door and says, "I will give you $1 million if you do $50,000 worth of damage in the next minute. Go." What are you doing?
I mean, you got to try to flood it first of all. Like get the water running first, I think. Um, you should probably be prepared. Like you should know in your mind just in case this is going to happen. Like, do they have an iron in the closet?
Yep.
Something that you could start a fire with. But I'd say flood or fire, first options, of course. After that, maybe putting a hole in the drywall or multiple.
Yeah, I think you start with drywall because that's just like an easy like 2, 3 grand off the top. Because you got to get someone in there, the repair. It's a business, so they're going to upcharge them. And then I think you got to go for the toilet. So you smash the toilet. That's a big bill already. One,
Yeah.
toilets cost money. Got to get a plumber in there. You got to reseat it. Got to reseal it. Then you just got to hope that you're on like the second or third. Oh, we have the answer in the chat.
Ding,
That's a
ding,
great
ding,
answer.
Josh. That's 100% it. Didn't even
Does
think of it.
the room have a sprinkler system? Bam, there's the answer. All you gotta do is break that little red thing,
You only need
and
five
it.
seconds. Just hit that and run.
Great answer. This is why we do these lives to get all these uh, great additions in the chat. Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta hope you're on like the second or third floor, so all that water pours down. I remember this is not on topic, but I remember one of my old coworkers. I don't even remember who it was, but they were living in an apartment, and they said, "Yeah, we our apartment flooded, and so I had to move out, and the whole building is evacuated because there's water damage everywhere, and they're trying to figure out what happened." And so like they're just staying in Airbnbs, hotels, living out of their suitcase, looking for a permanent housing situation. And they finally get an update from the landlord for how the flooding happened.
Uh-huh.
And someone went away on vacation for like, a month and left their cat there. And their cat
Oh,
somehow drained or plugged the drain in their sink and turned the water on and then just left. And so the stupid cat flooded an entire apartment building. Everyone's homeless.
Was the cat's name Bandit?
Bandit, that'd be a good name for a cat that floods the entire
Maybe
world.
maybe he'd be part of the Wet Bandits from Home
But
Alone.
there you go, the
That
wet
was their
bandit.
thing. They would flood their house when they would leave,
Yeah.
start the water running.
Home Alone them. Yeah, exactly. So that's a nice reference there. I didn't get it at first, but I get it now.
Thanks. That's why you got to keep those cats outdoors. Any cat owners.
Yeah, I have five. I have five outdoor cats, and they're great cats. We like them a lot, and they're so easy. Um,
What are the
all
names of
right.
your cats?
Yeah, so they're named after players on the Wild. So we have Flurry, Kaprizov, Erikssonek, two others, Zuccarello, and I totally blanked
Oh
on.
boy, I shouldn't have put you on the spot. That
Let
cat
me try
might be
again. Let me try again. We have Flurry, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Erikssonek, and what
watch
are
Josh come in the chat with your fifth cat like out of nowhere.
and Boldy. Boldy is the last one.
We can fix this in
We
post.
can fix it in post. Yeah, we'll try to fix it in post.
Just move your
Boldy's
mouth and we'll add the audio.
all right. I have never been super triggered in chess to answer my own question. I've never broken a mouse. I've never really done anything. I just get disappointed, like, oh, I should have really converted that, but then I just hit rematch or new 3 minute and don't think about it.
So
Um,
what's the most extreme thing you've done because you were sad? Like, do you ever just eat a pint of ice cream or something after playing chess?
no, sometimes I've had like really tough over the board games, and like I lose or something, and I come back and I'm just so exhausted, like
Hmm.
so wiped, and like you don't have that adrenaline dump from winning, and so you can't like falsely put your like bring yourself back up. So I just like go home, eat something like after dinner even, and then just go to bed. But that's about as extreme as I get.
I think for me the best thing is walking around and talking with somebody. Like
Oh, really?
Preston J and I did this in Chicago. We had a couple tough games and like we'd get together and analyze games or go for a walk or something. That's always nice. Like it's just takes your mind off of chess for a little bit. Okay, but I have a version of the question for you then.
Okay.
You get very nervous playing over the board chess. Can you recall what's the most nervous you've been for an OTB game?
The most nervous I've been like before the game.
Yeah, before or during.
I think the most nervous I've ever been. Who I can't even remember who my opponent was, but I was playing a 5 round round robin turn or not round robin tournament, Swiss tournament, and I had won my first 4 games. So I had beaten 2 players that were lower rated than me, one player that was maybe like 100 points lower rated, so it was maybe like a 600 and then an 800. Then my next opponent was maybe like a 13 or 1400, and I think I was around 1400 at the time. And in my round 4 game, I got paired up against a 1700, and I ended up beating him. And then in round 5, I had a whole lot riding on this game because I knew if I won, I would get the like the bonus, and it's a 5 round tournament, so it's a really big bonus. And I can't remember who I was playing, but it was someone right around my rating. And oh, I think it was I can't remember who it was now, but it was a really tough game, and I ended up winning. So that's how I think I gained like 150 rating points that game, and I hit my peak. I was at 15, like 1580 or something like that
Oh,
on
I'm
my
looking it up right now. Here we go. March 2022 Swiss. You scored first place 4.5 out of 5.
four. Did I get a round 1 bye?
Round one half point by. Yep.
Okay, that's where it is then. Okay.
And it was your last round opponent.
Yeah, so it must have been Tim.
It looks like it was Eric Flynn. White
Oh,
against
okay.
Eric.
Totally misremembering. Does it say how many points I gained that tournament?
You went from 1458 to 1582.
No, yeah, so 140 points or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a solid
That's
tournament. But I've been really nervous mid game in other games. There was one time I was playing someone rated about 800, and I had a really good position, and then I totally just blundered. I moved my rook to a square that was attacked, and I just lost an exchange just like that. and my opponent was really close to just ending the game, like trading stuff off, but he fell into a checkmate. And so I mated him with my H pawn. I played H4 mate.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think there's this form of chess that we should try at the chess club. You just made me think of it. Um, I think they used to call it capped chess, like before the term cap was popular. But essentially, what you would do is you would take a piece of tape, and the stronger player had to put the piece of tape on one of their pieces, and there was some algorithm for which piece to put it on.
Okay.
If you lost that piece, you lost the game as the stronger player,
Did you
and
know
you
what piece?
also needed to deliver the checkmate with that piece. So the mating with the H pawn made me think of it because sometimes you'd have a pawn captain and be like, you got to not only not lose this H pawn the whole game, but the H pawn has to deliver the mate. So sometimes you'd have like two rooks left and you would try to hustle the king all over to the G file and guard H8 and then mate him with the H pawn. Or you had to be very
Hmm.
creative to win those games.
Did both players know which piece was taped?
Yeah. Yep.
So if it was a pawn, how do you protect your pawn the whole game? You could just sack your queen for the pawn.
You just had to very quickly get your pieces out in front of it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause you basically can't give up a check at any point with the queen because you could be able to put yourself in position to, wow.
Yeah. It was
Okay,
pretty crazy.
we'll have to try that against each other
Okay.
next YouTube video.
Yeah.
Most nervous, this is from Chad. Most nervous I've been was when I decided to play the King's Gambit in the Chicago Open. It was a slow game and every move was critical, so it was nerve-wracking. I'm too old for that opening. How can it be a slow game time control wise? I see. Oh man, that sounds crazy.
You see
Um,
Dunkaroos above his? I used to have literal shaking legs in front of class having to do presentations. Super embarrassing. Yeah.
hmm, yep. Most nervous is when I'm playing someone that I don't really care for, and the thought of losing to them is an instant mental deficit of 100 elo. Dude, that's real. That is real. Um,
And Cody says
okay,
if the H pawn is captured, but later the G pawn, no. So if that H pawn is captured, you lose. So you can't replace it with another pawn.
all right, we have an old post and I think video on this that took off a while ago where you went over how to beat different like level or different rated opponents. So if you're playing someone higher rated than you, there are there are things you can do to try to swing the game in your favor without really doing anything special, like prepping a special opening or doing anything crazy. So what are you looking to do when you're playing someone, say like 100 points higher than you, 400 points higher than you, and maybe like 1,000 points higher than you?
Yeah, this is a very fun topic. I have a book by Axel Smith called Black and White Magic. And Axel Smith has written a couple of really good books. He wrote the Pump Up Your Rating book, which I think is more geared towards advanced players like 1700 plus. The Woodpecker Method, which is probably any rating, 1,000 plus. He has one called Black and White Magic. Oh, and then the other one that he has is called Street Smart Chess. Actually, this is where it comes from, Street Smart Chess. In that book, he talks about all these different scenarios. If you're higher and you want to win, if you're lower and you want to win, if you want to avoid draws, blah, 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 blah. A lot of his thoughts combine with kind of how I've thought about these things myself. So, you know how we've talked about in the past, how you want to think about what's your expected score in the position. And if your expected score is very high because you're close to winning, do you want to increase the variance or reduce the variance?
Yeah, if you're expected to win, you want to reduce the variance.
Yeah. So that's a very general statement because we're not talking about the two ratings of the players. So you're kind of assuming the players are the same rating. Now, think about it this way. You and I sit down at the board, and let's say we have a 500-point rating gap. I'm expected to score pretty highly against you, right? So do you want higher or lower variance games against me?
Extremely high variance.
Yeah. So that's a huge tip. And Magnus Carlsen agrees with this. So if you're a lower rated player, I would say if it's a 100-point difference, you can kind of just play your game. But if it's, let's say, 400 points, for the lower rated player, you want a very high variance game. You want a lot of chaos and increase the chances for both sides to blunder. Because the problem with playing a very solid game when your opponent's quite a bit stronger than you is they're going to tend to be stronger than you in almost all areas of chess. And the longer the game goes, the more likely the lower rated player is going to make the decisive mistake. Because we all know, we all have like sort of our average center pawn loss ranges per game. That higher player is not going to give up much center pawn loss per move compared to the lower rated player. Okay, so you want to attack when you're lower rated. Attack, 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 make games chaotic. That's the best way to beat a high rated. Now, let's flip it. If you're the higher rated player, what do you think you want to do?
Play the London.
Play the London. Yeah, I like that. So one thing you could say is maybe try to keep a calm game, but it goes a little deeper than that. If you're the higher rated player, the first thing you want to do is avoid people that are super booked up. Because if you and your opponent go into 20 moves deep of Sicilian Najdorf theory, not only could you get caught in some crazy variation that they just have memorized and they haven't used their chess abilities yet outside of memorization, you also shorten the length of the rest of the game. So you want to have a lot of game left to be played, a lot of options on the table. So the first thing you want to do is get out of opening theory. You want to be the player that surprises your opponent first when you're higher rated. And that can even mean like let's say you're playing black. Your opponent goes e4. You could play like b6 or a6, something like that, where all of a sudden your opponent already is saying, I don't even know what opening we're in, right? And all of their opening theory goes out the window. That's going to really throw them off. The next thing you want to do is create imbalances. So even though we don't want a position where that lower rated player is just relentlessly attacking us, we do want some imbalances because as the higher rated player, what you can do is hone in on those imbalances, right? So one thing I really like to do if I'm playing someone, let's say 200, 300 points below me, I like to play an opening like the Carol Khan Tartakower. We accept that doubled pawn straight out of the opening. And if all the major pieces trade off, that king and pawn endgame is very bad for black because white is a potential passer. But what
Hmm.
tends to happen is I know the imbalances of the Tartakower and I know how to use those double pawns. White's pawns get stuck on the queen side. They start to make their own weaknesses. Long term, I can play with those imbalances. Or you can look for exchange sacrifices, sack a pawn for mobility, the initiative. And I think the most important ones to play with are the initiative and active pieces. So those are the main tips, high rated. Get them out of that opening theory, play for those imbalances, and really just hammer, 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 imbalance, imbalance, imbalance.
Yeah, and on the move to move basis, if you're on the side where you should be scoring really well, I think you want to choose lines that gives your opponent many options to go wrong. You
Mm-hmm.
probably should not be initiating really any trades unless it really gives you something. And you probably shouldn't be going down forcing variations. Like if it's better to like play a check and there's only like one move that saves the position or something, but it's equal, maybe you don't do that. Maybe just kind of like put that in your back pocket. On the other hand, you want to flip that. So if you're maybe 400 points lower rated, maybe you choose more forcing variations. I wouldn't say like make trades that are no good for you, but maybe if you can play some move that like guarantees an equal trade of a couple minor pieces, that may be in your favor too. Um, yeah, so lots of things to think about, and chess is so much more than just moving the pieces. It goes deeper and deeper.
I'm glad you mentioned trades because Axel Smith did make an interesting point about trades, and I don't know if I agree with this. So I'm curious to hear what you think.
Oh,
He
okay.
says if you're the lower rated player, you should avoid trades, which is counterintuitive because your stronger opponent is only likely to trade with you if it's advantageous for them. So his point is like, you don't understand why the trade might be bad. So in general, you should not look to trade too quickly.
I don't know, because that never gives you the option to make a good move, like make a good trade, you know?
See, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from, but it's just like just because someone is rated 300 points higher than you doesn't mean that they're gonna never make a mistake or that you can't capitalize on a mistake. We played games together. I mean, you beat me almost every game, but there's games where I get in a good position even if you beat me after, and sometimes that involves making some trade. We're what 700 points apart, so it's a big difference.
Well, you've beat me in quite a few blitz games over the board. Like when you come over to my house, you've had some really good blitz games against me. Usually in some sort of weird Benoni, you just start crushing me.
It's a
So I
tough
agree with
thing to
you.
play.
Yeah, play your best chess.
Yes, we were talking about the King's Gambit earlier. So if you're playing someone maybe 400 points higher than you, that's a good opening to whip out. Why not? You have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
All right. So if you want to help out the podcast, you can give us a like and a subscribe. It helps a ton. We've been seeing some good growth on the podcast, not just the YouTube stream. And so we thank you very much for that. If you are on YouTube, a like and a subscribe is very helpful. Spotify, if you could review us, subscribe to us, and any way to support us is greatly helpful. Also, check out one of those free courses that I mentioned at the top. Just go to chessgoals.com and we would be very, very grateful. If you want to listen to the podcast live and feed us questions, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and we will notify you when we go live. We started a little bit early today, so it's nice that we had some people in chat to help us out. What else, Matt?
I'm glad we got that sprinkler recommendation. I think that really saved us.
Yes, you go for the sprinkler and cause all the water damage. I love it. Coming up in the next week or so is the freestyle chess tournament. I am really excited to see what they do with this. This is Magnus's event somewhere in Germany, but a lot of big names there. Really curious to see what they're going to do. I think it starts on the 9th, so that's going to be on Friday. Yeah, we'll just see what happens. I have high hopes for it. Yeah, should be pretty cool. It's really too bad they couldn't get Naka, but we will live with what we get.
This was something that Eric talked about on his Perpetual Chess podcast. It just made me think of it. Chess.com made that proposal to FIDE to run the world championship. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did hear that, but FIDE basically told him no.
Yeah, and they were asking Eric why that was, and Eric said it was a 10-year deal, and
Oh,
chess.com was sort of going to control everything, including the format, the prizes, the sponsors, the production of the TV and everything. So essentially it's like it's FIDE rated, but chess.com runs the show. And they disagreed on the format, and it sounded like chess.com was essentially saying we want to make this completely different from the traditional classical slow format, 21 days long or whatever it is. They wanted faster games in a shorter tournament. And FIDE wasn't a big fan of that.
I can see FIDE not being a fan of that. They have different motives. Chess.com has a profit motive for sure. They're a privately held company, and if they aren't making profit, they can't pay their people. On top of that, that's what Magnus says. Magnus wants shorter games, more games, some rapid in there. I think he has a massive advantage in rapid, even bigger than classical. So I wonder if that was a play to get Magnus back in the championship cycle. I think FIDE is there to kind of protect the sanctity of the World Chess Championship. If they changed all the rules, it would look very different. It's interesting though. I'd still love to see it. Don't get me wrong.
I think it'd be cool to have a sort of rapid world champion. 90 plus 30, 60 plus 30, and that's all it is. Play 2 games in a day even.
Yeah, or maybe like game 45 and you play 3 games a day and just goes really quick. I think that'd be really I don't know, I think that'd be a really exciting tournament.
I think the hard thing is currently, for whatever reason, a lot of chess fans don't watch rapid chess. Like the Pro Chess League doesn't get a ton of viewers, but they had so many top players in it. Whereas Title Tuesday gets a lot of viewers and the classical stuff gets a lot of viewers. So for whatever reason, fans don't tend to watch rapid, it seems.
Yeah, and I think the rapid games are really instructive because players are playing on instinct, but they're still doing some calculation, and those games are super high level, and you still get some real prep and stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, Chess.com actually just canceled the Pro Chess League. It is no more.
it's kind of sad. I mean, it was a good run, but I get it. There were so many teams and there are so many chess events out there. It was just hard to follow it all.
Yeah, logistical nightmare. But it was fun following like the Minnesota Blizzard back in the day.
Yeah,
We had Bartholomew, Nagel, Tang, a few others I can't remember.
I know
But yeah, that was fun. They
I
did pretty
subbed
well
for a
too.
little bit. Yeah, I played at least one match.
Oh, did you? How'd you do?
Bad. It was really hard because you have to play all their top players. Like it was terrible.
Were you board four?
Yeah, I was the last board.
That is wild. We should go rediscover those games.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah.
Did you play anyone good? I mean, you must have.
I, for whatever reason, I'm just kind of blanking on the whole experience. I should go dig up those games though.
Yeah. How long ago do you think that was?
10 years at least.
Okay, wow. You were a master at that point, right?
I might have still been 2100. I
Okay.
definitely wasn't a good strategic pick because you could get like juniors that were rated 2000 or something. I don't know. There was some bonus if you had like a junior or I think a female player on your team. So I wasn't ever the best strategic pick, but there was one match where they just kind of needed someone last minute and I was able to play.
Okay. Interesting. I didn't know you ever played in that.
Yeah, it was kind of a one-time thing. I mean, Title Tuesday, I get crushed when I play Title Tuesday, so it's not really that fun.
Yeah, there's some really, really strong players. It's like everyone in that. I don't know. I think what titles would be below National Master that you would even play against? Like Candidate Master?
I mean, CM, if you don't live in the US, could be higher than NM than my title because it's 2100 FIDE.
Yeah, that's
Maybe you're
pretty
not
close
FM.
though.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's a tough tournament.
it's one of the lowest. And then the problem I had too is I always assume 50% of my opponents cheat. So what are you gonna do? Your best results 50%.
Oh man, everyone accusing everyone of cheating. I wonder if we will ever know the truth of how many people actually cheat, how rampant it actually is.
Yeah,
Question for you, Matt. Do you remember the strongest player you've played over the board and or online?
great question. I've played thinking in terms of at the time I played them, IMs were the highest I've faced, but I've played Tang, who's now a GM. He's probably the strongest player that I faced at one point over the board who has like the highest rating later on is Tang.
Okay,
In terms of current, at the time I played them, maybe John Bartholomew for over
that's
the
what I was
board
gonna say.
classical.
He's been like 2450 for 12 years or maybe even longer. I know you've had some uh good games against him. I think you did a video actually on one game you played with him.
Yeah, so usually when I played, like since he's been really good, there was a stretch where we were similar age and similar rating growing up because he's, I think, 1 year younger than me, lived in Minnesota, still does. But I try to play super aggressive, like we just talked about, whenever I play John, because he's so solid. I don't want to go into a grinding game. So usually when I play him, he beats me in like 20 moves. Like he just shuts down my bad attack and then it's over.
That's funny.
Yeah.
John, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the podcast, promote your Scandy course you've been working on. If you guys want to have some inspiration, go to John's Twitter. I think it's Fins0905 or something like that. And he posts this ongoing thread of how much time he's put into this Scandy course he's working on. It's like 360 hours or something like that. And he wants to get it out the door pretty soon. So, John, when that ships, let us know. We'll have you on the podcast.
Who's the strongest player you've ever faced online or over the board?
Um, Strongest player. I played Andrew Tang in a simul and I beat him. He was doing a Twitch stream and he's probably playing like 40 games, all different horde, different variants. And I had just done a deep dive on this opening that we went exactly into. So this is
Uh-huh.
exactly what you're talking about with playing a low rated player. So I had it was D4, C4, and I just had like a really easy position and was like kind of had the initiative. It was still like completely equal, and I had nothing. And then he hung his queen. He dropped a king and queen fork, and he resigned. uh, so that's the most strongest player I've ever played online. That was before he was a GM. Strongest player I've played over the board. I don't. I've never played you over the board. It's probably Justin. He's a little over 2,000 at the time I played him.
I was just thinking, Justin. Yeah.
Yeah, in an official game, I'm pretty sure that's right. Oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
also played Eric Rosen and lost. I haven't played Ben Feingold. Yeah, Preston J played him during their Twitch streams. That's pretty cool. Oh, I have played John Bartholomew too. I got selected randomly in one of his streams, and it was a blitz game, and I was doing fine, but I pre-moved a capture that was a bad pre-move for some reason. I can't exactly remember the details, but yeah, I remember I pre-moved a capture, but then he played the wrong move. I can't remember exactly what happened, but it ended up just being like a mouse slip, bad, you know. But I was gonna lose anyway. So don't get
You
me
should
wrong.
you should share those games. That would be cool. We need to
Yeah, I'll
find
try.
all these games we discuss and then post them in Discord.
Yeah, I'll see if I'm sure I can drum it up on
That just reminded me, I
on the
did
chess.
play Eric Hansen one time when he was drinking on stream and I beat him. Like he was drunk on stream, completely drunk. And I was like, I gotta get a game in here against him.
Oh, great.
So you
All
played
right.
one 1900 in your USCF career and one 1800 Rob New shoots.
Oh yeah, he crushed me. The 1900 must have been Justin. Is that right?
Yep.
I thought he was even higher. I thought he was closer to 2,000.
1972, so pretty close.
Oh, okay.
And you played three 1700s, Roy, Kevin, and Brian Davis.
And I'm two of three.
Ooh,
Or actually, against Kevin, I think I'm 1-1 against him.
no. Wait, this says you're 3-0.
Three? No, that can't be right. Against Kevin?
No, it says you beat Roy,
Yeah.
you beat Kevin,
Okay.
and you beat Brian Davis. You're 3-0 against 1700s.
Oh, nice. I
No
don't
draws.
remember. I don't remember. I don't remember the Brian Davis game. I'll have to look that up. When was it?
This was at some tournament called Master List, June 4th, 2019.
Master list.
Let's see. You were 1287, 1278 at the time. And you beat him. You had a half point by round one. You beat him round two. And then you lost to Tim Shimke and Rob Newshoots.
Oh, that was my second tournament ever then.
Wow. That's such a huge win. 1278 and you beat 1720.
Wow. I don't remember that at all. That one must have been devastating for that guy. That's 500 points right there.
Yeah. And you were provisional too. He's probably like, this guy's new and he's 1200.
I'll have to. Yeah, I did peak early. Okay, I'm gonna have to dig these games up. I have them all saved.
Yeah, we need to do this. Okay, I suppose let me look. 1250. I'm seeing who the highest rated USCF I've played. Oh, okay. I didn't realize he was this strong. Um, I played Alton Cella. He's an IM, but he was rated 2610 USCF, and we drew.
Oh, wow.
But there's a qualifier to that. He was like temporarily in the US, and I need to ask my parents the details on this. I became friends with him, and he was like teaching me a little bit, and he kind of stayed at our house for a stretch while living in Minnesota. So I got paired with him, and he just like gave me the draw. I need to find the game. And I was so excited because I gained, I don't even remember how many rating points for drawing a 2600, but it was not a legit game. He just took the draw.
Okay, I found the game if you want to look through it real quick.
Yeah, let's see it.
All right, apologies for audio only listeners. If you want to end the podcast now, you sure can. All right, this is my second ever tournament. So this is probably my sixth game OTB, and it's me against a 1726. I was 20 or no, 12, what, 1240 at the time, 1220.
Yeah, maybe say the moves as you play them, and then if you're listening on audio only, this is a challenge for you to visualize it.
Yeah, just go over it in your head. D4, D5. Okay, so I'm playing the London. Early C5, protect with C3. Knights come out, bishop comes out. Okay, that must be some theoretical move. H3, castles, push it. Okay, that's a mistake. I don't think you should push
Hmm.
there. Drop the bishop back. Okay, I bet I play queen E2 here. Okay, bring the knight out first. Okay, now I gotta play E5 here, right?
Yeah,
Or
E4 is
E4.
the critical break.
Okay, I was a little scared of that.
A3 is
Okay,
good. You're blocking his B4 push.
E4, solid. Takes. Ooh, okay.
Ooh,
Kicks the bishop. That looks like a mistake. I mean, it's telling me it's a mistake. Do I just drop it?
inaccuracy.
Yeah, inaccurate. Do you think I just drop it to H2? Okay. Keep the bishop. That's a nice piece. Takes. I'm already not really liking this for black, I mean. It's a little uncomfortable. Okay, bring the bishop out. I think I got to take here. Ooh, rook
I like
over.
Ricky
Okay.
one. Yeah, let him take you if he wants to.
Okay. Take. Which way do I take? It's got to be the knight, right?
I'll say king.
All right, queen over. That doesn't really do anything though. I guess it I guess it attacks the or protects the knight again. But now I'm kind of seeing these pawns aren't looking so good. I wonder if D5 right here isn't good.
Ooh, yeah. I think he wants to queenside castle and D5. If you can get it in, maybe he can still castle.
I know myself well enough that there's no chance I played D5 here. That's way too risky of a move. I bet I played queen. I bet it's either queen E2 or queen F3 if I had to guess. I don't think I
Queen,
have the I don't think I have it in me to play D5 in this position, but that's what I would play today.
Queen H5 and Knight G4 are tempting. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Queen H5. I like that move. Okay, castle's queenside. Now, okay, what would I play in a game here? I probably play A4. Try to break up those pawns. Or
Hmm.
maybe take this pawn.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, rook. Okay, sure. Rook over. Not quick, but that's fine. Ooh, that's a nice move though. I have to play bishop back here because I don't want his knight in. Oh wait, is there a tactic here? If I take, because I don't want to take here and let him plop his knight here forever.
But you know what? His knight doesn't do anything from there, so you can ignore it. Like
Maybe
you
I
could take and
maybe
play rook E5 if you wanted.
I bet I take. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I bet I drop my bishop back because I didn't want his knight in here.
So in this scenario, I probably would trade because now look at your bishop compared to his. And I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
afraid of knight B3. I don't really care if the knight sits on B3.
Okay. Bishop over, knight up, queen over. Watch the pawn, Jesse. Got to play F. Oh yeah, maybe 93 is a nice move, but I bet I play F3 here. Yeah, shoot. But he has no dark square bishop, so putting pawns on light squares, that's not terrible.
Yeah, should be fine.
Are we sure I win this game, by the way? Okay, knight
Hopefully.
back. Oh no, I thought that was a piece, but no, obviously the rook still defends. Okay, getting my knight in.
That
Careful.
knight's tricky.
Sees it. Okay. Can't really, can I go here? I don't know.
Mm,
The knight's not really doing anything here. I maybe like need to reroute it or something. That's
you're
not a
going
good
for
square for the it's not a good square for the knight though, because what are we doing? Are we
think you're
going
going
back
for
this way?
B3. You want B3 and open his king up, I bet.
There's no way I go B3 here. There's no chance. Oh, now he's pushing me around. Queen G3. Okay, he's gonna push again, I bet. Yeah. Queen F2, I'm sure. Oh, queen back up. Oh, attacking this pawn. That's kind of tricky to defend.
What if you do
Oh,
lose this game?
I might. I honestly don't remember this game at all. Okay, knight f5, good move. But I'd plunk my rook there if I had to guess. Okay, this is a long game. This is move 32 and like nothing has happened.
What if you lost this game, Jesse, and it was reported as a win for USCF and we discovered it live on YouTube
That'd be kind of great.
until St. Louis hears about it?
Okay, now I'm starting to pile up on the pawn. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna play through these pretty quickly because I don't have any idea what's going on here. Check here. Check. Oh, I'm getting really sandwiched here. I think I lose this game.
Are you sure it's the right? What was
Yeah,
your opponent's name? Brian Davis?
Brian Davis. Oh, that check. Oh, I do remember this game. I
You
don't
want
have
did
the I don't have the whole PGN though because the we ran out of time. Oh, I remember this guy now. Yes, this was a doctor. This is his
okay,
first game back in a long time.
okay.
Okay, I'm so sorry, but I don't have the whole PGN. I already know. So I'm just gonna skip through this. Yeah, so oh no. Okay. So what happened here is I didn't have the whole PGN, but I kind of like recreated it from memory. So I think I stopped annotating around here. But I basically just let these pawns roll and I did this exactly and got the checkmate. So I did come back and win this game. Now I remember it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What a win. Wow. It took me like it only took 55 moves for me to figure out what's going on.
Jesse flagged an old guy who hadn't played in years. Rude.
Hey, I didn't flag him. These are the moves, boys. All
Great
right.
game.
That was
Great
fun to
game.
go back and go over. Yeah, I think I was talking to him before and he said it was his first game in like 20 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive too because I think ratings were lower then than they are now for same skill level. Like it was
Yeah.
hard to be a 1700 20 years ago. Harder than it is now, I would say.
Here's one tactic I remember from the game, going back to it. So here I
Okay.
played this knight check and then check queen with check, but really clever is this move.
Oh, that's nice. That's so pretty.
And look at this. You can give up the whole world. Either of these is checkmate.
Wow.
That's the one thing I remember from this game.
Would you knight mate him there or would you go rook takes rook?
I'll give him the queen.
Give him the queen and then mate him.
Maybe he'll take a
That's so good.
that's sick. Alrighty, everyone. That's gonna do it for the podcast. Thanks for going on this old journey. That was my first real solid win over the board. 17, what'd you say? 1720
17.
something?
Yeah. The page isn't loading now.
1750 or something like that. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Sorry for the audio people who didn't get to see the game at the end, but watch the video on YouTube or on inside of Spotify. Thanks for listening, everybody. Again, if you could give us a like and a thumbs up, that'd be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Thanks. See ya.